Midweek edition of Breakfast Central is back again on your TV screens, and we are excited to be here as always. Don't forget, it's day 3 in the new working week, by the way. Je suis Jonathan Hansen, or better still, Joe Hansen, you know. Yeah. Why are you looking shocked? I mean, we should be used to French language now because we have an affiliation. They are the ones taking care of your taxes, in case you do not know.
Well, my affiliation to French is having done, being a part of the ECOWAS, because the official languages are French and Portuguese, French, English, and Portuguese. So, yeah.
You're welcome to Breakfast Central. It's the midweek edition, as Joe has said. So many things happening across the country and, of course, around the world. And as usual, we'll pick up with our wake-up conversations and get into our top stories with our special guests. You don't want to miss today's show or tomorrow's show or any show on Breakfast Central, because this is the best place to start your day right. I am Benga Aporoa.
And I am Olive Emodi. Your conversations matter, your thoughts matter, and we'll be here to take them when we open the phone lines. We open the phone lines every day when we review the newspaper front pages. We also will be taking comments from the chat box on YouTube. We're streaming live via News Central TV Live. So please go ahead to drop your comments, and I'll be very glad to take them. You're once again welcome to the show. Ooh, how are you, gentlemen?
Well, good. If it was radio, this is the part where you say, don't touch that there. Don't touch that remote control. Stick around.
hold it, way back.
Yeah.
But how we are, I guess the potholes are back.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, I don't know what's happening.
One rain,
that
everywhere.
Center of Excellence motto should be removed, because there's nothing excellent about the state of the infrastructure in Lagos, and much needs to be desired. And if you drive around the metropolis, you would notice heaps of refuse in places that, I mean, the last time I saw things like that was in the early 2000s. I thought we had moved past that as part of our mega city, toga, advancing towards mega city. So there's more to development than just skyscrapers and bridges and luxury apartments.
And destruction of
homes. And destruction of
properties,
slums.
buildings.
Yeah, it would be nice to clean up Lagos and also fix the potholes.
They are trying to fix up the potholes. One of our stories today, we're looking at the reconstruction on the Lekki Epe Expressway and the fact that we shut down for 64 days.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Oh, they postponed Doomsday, but
Doomsday is back.
But the problem is, what do people want?
What are the alternatives?
You complain about pothole. Now they're trying to fix it. They're going to shut it down for 64 days.
Why?
People will still complain.
So it's, well, I'm not going to give them kudos for that.
Why won't you give them?
You will not give them what?
Continuous.
You will not give them what?
Kundos.
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 If the government has been working as it's done, you have public works department that would fix small potholes as at when due. It wouldn't blow up into all the situation where we have an almost total collapse of the road, and you wouldn't need to shut down for 60-something days. So if they had done their work in the first place, it won't be where we are.
Okay, we'll come back to talk about that.
But don't forget, they're talking about expansion. Anyway,
it's one of our stories. Our third story. We're looking at that in a moment. But
do you guys plan to relocate? There's that thing, Sha.
Airbnb, yes. Airbnb in
you cannot
Ikeja.
live if you can share the money.
Sorry, my family is on the island. I cannot leave
Islander.
my children.
Anyway, by the time I do, I think by that time I'll be doing wake up conversations and first story.
Before we get to
your 30% of your salary should go to you.
That's okay.
I'll be holding the fort.
We'll think about that.
All right, let's begin our wake-up conversations. We'll come to talk about the roads in a moment, but the Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, made an unannounced visit to the Nigerian Immigration Service Passport Office in Gwagwalada, Abuja, where he berated officials over delays in, I won't say berated, but basically cautioned them over the delays in passports processing and warned against collecting extra fees from applicants. The minister questioned why applicants were still waiting hours after opening time, despite having paid official charges in full, and criticized the slow pace of enrollment and biometric capturing. He described the situation as unacceptable, ordered officials to improve efficiency, and stressed that passport services must be delivered promptly and fairly, as immigration officers admitted operations started late due to power challenges. Let's listen to the video and then we'll come back to share our thoughts.
this place to enroll other people, so that to do capturing rather for other people, so that at least you can lessen the burden and the waiting time.
We do until after the enrollment.
How long is this going to take? How many enrollments have you done today?
We've done like 7.
7. What's your time? How long does it take to do an enrollment?
Like 3 minutes.
3 minutes. 3 minutes. 30 minutes. So 3 times 7.
21.
What's your time?
It's just few minutes and 4 minutes to 10 seconds.
4 minutes to 10.
Yes, sir.
When did you open?
We put on the gen by 9:38.
What time are you supposed to open?
We're supposed to open by 8, but we wait the arrival of applicants.
Okay, applicants there by 9, right?
9:30.
Okay, so they can, no, when, so 9, then you have done 7, that's 21 minutes. So it means that by 9:30, I expect to see at least 1 or 2 applicants here. Right?
Yes.
Because I can see some people waiting downstairs, and our responsibility is to be efficient. Our responsibility is not to keep people waiting. It's not just good enough for you to serve people, you must serve people well, diligently. Because I can see people downstairs, even the other capturing center, I think about almost 10 people are there waiting for capturing, which is okay, I don't have a problem. But those that are waiting, it will not cost you anything if you.
There you have it, the Minister of Interior Affairs speaking to members of the immigration about the passport collection processes. Have you, either of you, renewed your passport?
I'm due for a renewal this year. I mean, I'm actually due for a renewal, and I plan to in the next few weeks. So it will be nice to go test the system and report back.
To be honest, there have been improvements from the time pre-Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo and during his time. You can see a lot of the improvements in the way the services are being carried out. It doesn't mean that part of what he tried to cut out is completely off. There's another thing where I don't understand it. If you go to the Nigerian Immigration Service office in Ikoyi and you get there for 9 a.m., I see 8 or 9 days, one of the two.
You have to pray.
No, you have to wait for them to turn on the system in Abuja. That's what they'll tell you, that, oh, we have to turn on the system in Abuja before it reflects here.
And even foreign missions, because I hope we've captured that as part of our what Nigerians are saying. Somebody did tweet from Finland, and people had to come in from Norway, Denmark, and other places just for them to be sent back home that the system in Abuja has a glitch. I mean, there has to be more efficient ways of doing these things. These are people's valuable time and effort. So we need to also reduce the human error and the lack of diligence amongst civil servants in general in doing their work. They're so lackadaisical and laid back. They feel, you know, they have all the time in the world, and there's no empathy for people and respect for their time.
Well, you know, that's the slang of a typical Nigerian politician. Well, I want to say first off, it's preempting. They're preparing.
With some
Thank you very much for that question.
Absolutely. But I really want to say kundus, in other words, in English language, kudos to the minister. One thing he's done, he's tried as much as possible to ensure that changes are made, especially different from how Nigerians used to know what the system looked like and what is transforming to, even the airports. I want to say well done and kudos to the minister. I also noticed that the minister has decided to ensure that he added content creation to his work, which I recommend for every single person.
All of them, and all of them have like social media handlers.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Not all of them.
Most of them.
Not all of them.
It's not even a fashion.
I don't think Mr. Bello Matawale
Not all of them, because I can mention a few ministers who have never seen them put up
like
anything.
Mr.
and all that. But that doesn't mean that you must have in order to prove that you're working. Let's also face facts. What we saw with the minister was he had his microphone on. There are many other videos online. There was one where we also showed that when he was talking to the lady, you know, he knelt down, not kneeling down with his knees, but you know, he stooped low, you know, asking, showing some form of empathy and care. while we understand that that is necessary for the cameras and so on,
Maybe not
we
really
want
for
to.
the cameras. The cameras just happen to be there.
Benga, stop. Benga, please. Benga, please.
No, there are
I
things
beg
you can act.
Benga,
I mean,
please.
he's a very hands-on
Oh my
minister.
goodness, Benga.
Okay,
It's
well, go
called, it's public relations, it's PR, it's basically, a minister wouldn't just, okay, he could have come here without his cameraman, without a microphone on his suit.
So no.
But we're not criticizing that, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that I like the impact, and I wish he could do this regularly, not just in Abuja,
Not him.
Lagos,
I wish
him
the
alone,
minister
all of
and so on.
would
Yes.
face their work. We had a
All
minister
ministers.
that went for 17 days outside his work for a thank you tour in a different
Thank
state.
you.
So
Another problem there. So we commend him, and like we always say here on Breakfast Central, we as journalists, we must speak truth to power. We must be able to also commend when it's time to commend for good job done, well done. I want to say thank you. Well done, Minister, and we hope that you continue with your transformation and make sure that it's even heavier and better, far
we
better.
need more, and I think he also needs to move away from Abuja. He should check all immigration centers, most around the
Lagos.
country, and unannounced on the spot check.
And also, just to say that it's one thing to do a pep talk, which I think is important, right, to show up and do there. But there have to be systems and structures. I always emphasize systems and structures to be put in place to ensure that if you hear reports about this, you investigate, somebody is punished. There are punitive measures. So people know that if they go behind and, maybe they delay people's passport or they do this is the punitive measure. If they
There's strict guidelines.
like the strict guidelines. It's not enough. That's a good step. I won't criticize the minister for that. It's one good step, but it has to be backed by action. But I'll head to YouTube now and see comments on this. Okay, we have a comment from Moki Chukwemeka. He says, what was the mic for? These things are for the optics, Joe. You want to write about the attitude of your staff, and you had a mic on, and then he thanks you, Joe, for echoing his point.
It's obvious, but like I say again, Nigerian passport has risen to 88 in the world in 5 years. And if you take a look at President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's
strength.
Yes, the passport strength, 88 in the world.
I don't think that is necessarily because of the work that he's doing with the passport.
We must also give him
No, but
credit.
I don't know that that's...
And I'll explain
Has it
why.
risen or it has dropped?
No, it
Oh,
has.
don't know.
It has.
I'm not sure it has
It has. It has.
I think
to 88?
Yes, and we
Henry,
must
should we get the passport
we must give credence, and I'll tell you why we must give credence. Foreigners have complained. I was opportune to speak to two ambassadors, the ambassador of Brazil, and also I can't remember the other ambassador. We were on a panel, and the Brazilian ambassador said, "Listen, in as much as Nigerians are struggling to get, their passports stamped, concerned with other countries, that Nigeria is so difficult that for them to come into Nigeria, it takes them sometimes months, upon countless number of months, that you got sometimes 6, 7, and so on." And he said it becomes so tough that getting a Nigerian passport, getting a visa rather, to come in, it's a problem. And therefore, you have to send in your passport and all of those processes. The same also goes for Nigerians when they also have to go elsewhere. But it's okay, ensure that let's get the visa for you, the processes. So remember that we also had issues of who are Nigerians in generally. Whenever we travel to other countries, you show the green passport, everybody's like Nigerian and so on. But that has reduced drastically.
So
we must be honest.
again,
in
and I agree
some
with
areas,
you. Yes, you're correct. We've moved up from 103rd to 89th on the Henley Passport Index. Great. What I'm saying is I don't think it's a function of the smooth process in the immigration office or in the passport office. I was saying that it's maybe in terms of our diplomatic relations, access to different countries. I hear we're able to access 44 countries visa-free. Basically, our ability to move around visa-free for people to come in and people who have the Nigerian passport, what manner of respect? And I don't know that the respect will come from them printing it faster or giving us a better quality. Those are great.
That adds to it.
Those are great, I think.
It adds to it.
Those are
But
great for us.
the Nigerians in diaspora also need to sit up and be good ambassadors of a country. The other day we had Nigerians fighting 2 people died over a relationship in India. Very, very sad.
We also have cult clashes.
Yeah.
I beg to differ. Nigerians in diaspora are doing us proud. Yes,
not
there are bad eggs here and
eggs,
there,
yeah.
but on the larger scale, you hear of people breaking records, and they're Nigerians who unfortunately have not been given an economy to be able to break records and thrive here. So they go abroad
we should be
and they break records.
You will never
there.
hear of Ghanaians in a cult clash in Dubai.
Who told you that?
Ghanaians doing cultism.
Who told you that?
Badly behaved.
That's a fallacy of hasty generalization.
No,
anybody can be a part of a cult. I don't agree with that.
What he's saying.
Anybody can be a part of a cult clash. And because of this, I'll go and look
rare. It's rare.
I think I agree with
rare.
Or Togolese.
It's rare. It's rare, but the reason why you hear more about Nigeria is because you're Nigerian. Is the ability is just like when you say you want to buy a Camry, for example. Everywhere you go, you will see a Camry. So because you're Nigerian, you will typically hear news that involves Nigerians.
We need to be better.
Nigerians in the diaspora are contributing so much, even in terms,
nobody's negating that, but they're
FX inflow into our economy.
They're bad eggs.
I mean, they're bad eggs everywhere. Everyone has.
Every country has bad eggs.
Every country has their bad eggs.
Every country has bad eggs. We even have foreigners that are doing poorly here in Nigeria.
But regardless, we want to commend the minister.
Okay, you know what? We've talked enough about it. Maybe we should take what Nigerians are saying.
Yeah, let's see what Nigerians are saying quickly before we move to the next story. The liberal capitalist says, one of my favorite ministers, he speaks like someone who understands. Give me 10 of these guys and I will build you a functional Nigeria in 2 years. I cannot but help to agree with you, and I agree with you. I went to the Nigerian embassy in Sweden yesterday to renew my passport. You won't believe what happened. People had traveled from Denmark, Norway, Iceland, Finland, and various parts of Sweden just for their biometrics. None of them were captured. The excuse given was no connection from Abuja. All of us, whether we had appointments or not, ended up going home empty-handed. The cost of flights, trains, and ferries were wasted just like that. We were simply told to come back anytime. Nigeria is such a disgraceful country. That's a thought. This isn't the first time it's happened, and it's not limited to the embassy in Sweden. Other embassies have faced the same issues. The ambassador in Sweden was a genuinely kind man. He kept coming down to address us and offer his sympathies. The Nigerian embassies in Sweden has long been one of the best for passport renewals in Europe. Take note. In the past, you could go there and walk out with your new passport the same day. But now that they no longer have the authority to print passports, it becomes a complete mess. Someone I met there said it was his second trip from Finland only to encounter the same problem, no connection again. He refused to return home, saying he couldn't afford another ticket, so he decided to stay in a hotel. This is the first time I've seen or heard of a citizen showing up for an appointment at their own country's embassy only to be turned away due to no connection with headquarters and with no compensation for travel expenses, nothing at all. This is a different side to what we've said.
Nigerians in diaspora. Are also feeling the effect of inefficient governance.
Yeah. I mean, still talking, said we pay embassy administration fee to maintain those embassies. That's not included in the cost of the passport tool. 32-page booklet is $150, 164 is $240. The embassy in Lithuania charges €100 embassy fee. The one in Sweden charges 50. That's approximately 46.7 euros. Germany has its own. What's the point of paying way higher for passports compared to getting it in Nigeria?
Well, we still have
and
to
they feel you're in diaspora.
No.
So
this is a different kettle of fish. But again, we are not impressed with the minister's he said I, not
service.
I mix everything together. I service either. Scolding staff members on camera about operating protocols you failed to put in place is a painfully ridiculous approach to public governance. Yep, that's it.
Systems, protocols, and...
Not really a fan of this style of management. I prefer you design a process to measure output, then reward or penalize performance. On-the-spot visits such as these should only inform process redesign, not public dress down of staff.
In my humble opinion.
With all these codes. Chris Ikea says we should be beyond all these performative acts in 2026. This doesn't and won't change anything, and the minister doesn't need to visit any establishment under his care to gauge if the workers are coming to work, doing their jobs, or even collecting bribe. Well, that's all. Chris, I agree with you, but at the same time, I think Nigeria is still in a growing stage where we need hands-on. Hands-on is necessary. And I think the minister visiting, not just the minister, all ministers should actually take some time out of their offices instead of going for holiday trips gallivanting around the world. Go to these different departments, find out what they're doing,
alongside
and set up these
alongside what
protocols.
Olive mentioned about systems.
Yeah.
In place and ways of systems
And structure.
and structure.
To reward good behavior and punish bad behavior as well.
And we need to do better in terms of service delivery, especially when it
Especially
comes
in
to
the
government
diaspora.
agencies. Yes.
Right. Anyway, on YouTube, Folari says, "Good morning to you guys. Looking good this morning. Thank you, Folari. This minister is doing a fine job, and we should commend him and not criticize." Olaiton Shola says, "The Minister of Interior is a hardworking chap. But anytime I remember the office, your Minister Betty Edu saga, I miffed. I'm not quite sure I understand this, but I completely get. That's true. We never really found out what happened with.
Nothing happened to
She was
Betty
just
Edu.
relieved of her appointment.
And
Those were
nothing.
strong
There hasn't been
allegations
any.
against
She was given a bow and go.
Well, keep your conversations and your comments coming. We're still streaming live at New Central TV live. Let's now come to Nigeria and talk about Lagos. For those of us living here in
That is
Lagos, the
embarrassing.
Lagos State government has announced that it will divert traffic for 64 days, that is approximately a little over 2 months, on the Lekki Epe Expressway as reconstruction work begins on the Abia Bridge to Admiralty section, starting Sunday, the January 25th, 2026. That is this Sunday. According to the Special Advisor to the Governor on Infrastructure, Olufemi Daramola, the rehabilitation of sections 2 and 3 will be carried out in phases, intersection by intersection, with both daytime and nighttime construction to fast-track completion. The Commissioner for Transport, Oluwaseun Osiemi, affirmed that traffic managers will be stationed along the corridor with a dynamic lane sharing system introduced to manage peak hour flow for Lagos-bound and Ekpe-bound vehicles. Motorists are being advised to plan their journeys, expect changing traffic patterns, and make use of alternative routes, including the coastal road, as the state works to reduce congestion during the reconstruction period. Benga, during this period, if you decide to have another baby, please understand why Joe and I cannot come for the naming ceremony.
I mean, you have work before my baby comes. Let's talk about your daily responsibilities. And how will this affect you? What alternative routes are available?
So we have the coastal
of you.
road.
Yeah.
The coastal road is very, very usable. It's a wonderful opening, especially for those who need to
to their
escape.
lanes? Because
Yes,
the few
yes,
times I
yes,
used
yes.
it,
Oh, yes. They stopped
Okay,
that
that's
during towards the end of December.
That's
They
good.
put police officers who ensured that they manned the road and corrected people
Fantastic.
and so on. So the coastal road. The other alternative would be that you have to wake up much earlier. So if you used to wake up at 4, you might want to wake up at 3 a.m. and ensure you hit the road at possibly before
No
5.
sleep for the wicked.
Before
No,
5.
that's not humane. It's not even. How do you function as a human being waking up so early?
And then it talks about their changing patterns. So 64 days pretty much is saying 2 months and a week. That's what Nigerians should expect. If what we felt during December, November, December, what we saw and what we felt became so dramatic and problematic for commuters and road users, this is going to be like ×2 of it.
No, but they said
Yeah.
they have traffic managers and
They
that's
also have
they
traffic.
always have
They
traffic.
always have
Exactly.
traffic
We've seen
managers.
this is not
They
the first
always
time
do.
we've seen them take breaks to
yeah.
do one reconstruction or the other. But on paper, the idea sounds good. It looks great. Where the issue is implementation, execution. First, they talk about having traffic managers. That's the LASMA, Lagos State Traffic Management Authority. How effective is LASMA in actually managing traffic? How many of our traffic lights are working? Now, traffic lights will help a great deal to deal with traffic management, especially at night and in the mornings. How many of these lights are working?
Even the last man, they don't work 24 hours. They
Exactly.
I think the major worry for all of us might not even be LASMA. The major worry is the number of cars on
And the
that
attitude
axis
of road users.
and
Yeah.
the downfall drivers, the public transport. Because these guys all of a sudden will shunt and then they would recreate another lane which shouldn't
They're
have been
grossly
created.
indisciplined.
So if there's discipline, it will take us time, yes, but we will be able to actually make a way. But then again, it is what it is. We're in for it for the next 2 months.
For the greater good. So just tighten your seatbelt and
there's no belt to tighten because I'm already wearing the seatbelt.
Estimate, just give it 3 months and you'll be back. You'll be a spanking brand new road. I remember how Third Mainland used to be. It was a mess. And look at what Mr. Engineer David Umahi,
every
Professor
time
of
there's
Practice,
an announcement, I understand that this needs to be done, but every time there's an announcement, like my heart literally sinks in my head.
I mean, I'm thinking, I'm worried. I mean,
it's bad enough that you guys wake up at the time you wake
up.
On
godly hours. By the time I wake up, you're still snoozing.
And then,
I mean, let's see what Nigerians are saying, if they are talking at all.
We'll come back to take that later, but let's quickly go to Wake Up Conversation number 3.
Okay.
But before then, remember that we're streaming live on YouTube. We will be bringing you the updates on that, and your comments will be taken as well. Reactions have continued to create a viral video showing a man who reportedly stormed the church vigil in Ibeku, Umuahia, Abia State, wielding a cutlass over what was described as excessive noise from the night service. The incident, which surfaced online on Tuesday, showed the visibly agitated man confronting worshippers and ordering them to leave as members of the congregation attempted to calm him down. The footage has sparked a broader debate on social media, particularly on X, over noise pollution in residential areas, with some users condemning the man's actions, while others question the impact of loud religious activities on neighbors. The episode has again drawn attention to growing concerns over environmental noise, recalling government interventions such as the Lagos State government sealing of churches and other establishments in October 2025 for noise-related violations, as Nigerians weigh the balance between religious expression and communal living. Let's take what Nigerians... Okay, you know what? Let's play the video. Then we'll come back to take what Nigerians are saying and take our reactions. Bring it. Get out!
Wow.
Oh, wow.
I want, please, can we play the video again without the audio? I want you to peep the gigantic speakers in the background. So huge.
You know why? So that the prayers can go up. You know, it's not loud enough.
I'm currently suffering this now. There's a church where I live. They just opened and they carry out services Monday to Sunday.
Wow.
In short, when you're about to sleep, just take a little nap, maybe in the evening or something. They're shouting, you have people, different noises, rap, shout, making, and it's a residential area. I don't have a problem if you want to worship God.
Yeah.
I always say it. I don't have everybody, you're entitled, feel free. But do it the right way. Because even the same Bible says, love your neighbor as yourself. It is not loving for me to be screaming down
and disturbing
me.
Maybe they don't love themselves, because the Bible says love your neighbor as yourself. So maybe they don't love themselves.
I agree.
You know what you can do? There's a solution to this, and they are very proactive.
I wish I can get this man to this. I wish I can find this man to come and help.
Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency.
I'm going there, bro.
Just write a petition.
I'm going there,
and they will act on it.
So as a believing Christian,
who can battle with the Lord?
Nobody. But I must say that I understand that love is consideration. And unfortunately, a number of us experienced this. This was the norm growing up, right? When we grew up, you hear churches, like there can be a number of churches on your street, the mosques. In fact, I knew a number of the songs from the mosques because I used to hear them at 5 a.m. when they do the call for prayer. So I knew some of these songs. But times are changing, things are evolving. Religious houses, I strongly believe that you should be able to practice your religion, but not at the detriment of others in terms of noise. It's very uncomfortable when you're trying to sleep. For those of us that have to wake up at 3 a.m., 4 a.m. to come to make it to work, and you're trying to sleep at night and you're hearing noise. Now, if I'm being honest, this wasn't particularly my struggle, but I experienced it last month. I experienced it because our estate power went out, and then for hours they were working on it. So I had to, typically I don't open my windows in the night. I open them during the day. So I had to open my windows. And there was one church that was singing. This was ending of December. Then I went online to go and look for the church. Because I heard the voices of the people singing and I knew them. So I started looking online to see. I was so pissed. This was around past 11 in the night.
And you had to do investigative journalism.
Knowing that I have to be up very early in the morning. So I think that religious organizations practice, pray, fellowship, but get noise-proof buildings. Ensure that you are considerate of your neighbors. Yeah. It's not just fair. If it's meant to be a residential area, let people there feel like they are living in an apartment, not in a church. If I wanted to go to church every day, I would
and for the gentleman that went there with a machete, I mean, I understand your frustration. So many people would do that, but it's almost like something could have gone wrong.
Absolutely.
A spirit could have entered you. A demonic spirit. Knowing that you went to disrupt a church service and make you take action on a Christian. And Donald Trump will come for you.
There's a story.
No, but jokes apart, like...
No, we're not supporting that.
It was a bit much. It was not a bit much, very much. Just to further buttress what Benga had said, somebody could have seen this as an act of aggression and a bid to defend himself. A fight would have broken out. Somebody could have been really, really hurt. There are better ways to handle it. Report to LASEPA. And
he'll be charged with manslaughter. Manslaughter.
I mean, we don't support the Cutlass. We don't at all. But Benga, this also shows the level of frustration this man has been through. Listen. When the churches make so much, see, there are times where I can't sleep. There are times where I get back home and trust me,
it's bad. The type of work you do.
It's really bad. Even in the afternoon, when I manage to get home in the afternoon early, I'm like, okay, thank God, now I can take a little nap. You can't. Because they're drumming and they are speaking in languages that they don't even understand themselves. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Speaking in languages they don't understand, is speaking in tongues.
Yeah, because they don't even understand what they're saying.
Yeah, they shouldn't.
I mean, actually, you should. Somebody should be able to be there. That's a different conversation.
Let's not argue.
Let's leave that. They don't understand.
Let's not argue
that. I mean,
I'm
being honest. If you want to make noise, if you want to do your own thing, do your own thing. Nobody stops you. But do not disturb. There's a story. This is a true story. This similar thing happened in Lekki, and surprisingly, this man came with a cutlass. The other man came with a gun, and he came with a gun and told them, "Listen, if you guys don't stop this, I don't mind going to prison." And guess what? He was a pilot. He said, "Whenever I don't fly, this is a residential area. Pilots are known to sleep. They check it. All pilots must stay in a quiet environment so they can sleep. You came there, you bought a property just like the pilot, just in Lekki phase 1 year, and you converted it to a church." And the man was like, who does that?
There should be rules on where you can situate some of those religious houses and,
I mean, we're not supporting the violence and all of that, but I think for those who are watching here, you need to understand that worship does not mean that you have to disturb other people so that you'll be heard by God. I mean, people pray in silence and God still hears them.
We all have access to God.
Okay, do we have what Nigerians are saying about the story, and then we can call it a morning on Wake Up Conversations and then go proper into the main conversation. Shehu Akinsoya says, noise pollution is not a good thing, but the church members know do well. They're supposed to give the man correct beating for showing up with a cutlass.
We're not going to promote violence.
We're not going to promote violence, Shehu.
No one is beating anyone.
I wanted to say this is not the right approach, but what if he has approached the right sources and nothing was done, and he couldn't bear it again? You can tell he has endured enough. Please stop building churches in residential areas.
Where should they be built? In the forest?
They should
along the express.
They should go to the
even if they want to build churches or mosques in residential areas, there are ways you can go around it. You can make it noise-proof.
Soundproof.
So
like
that
some clubs.
Everything exactly. That's why you believe.
Yeah, you won't get anything from the clubs.
Anyway, love him. Now go get sense by force, disturbing people because you want to praise God. You do your thing without mic and drum. People need to sleep. Update Boys says there is a clear inconsistency in how noise pollution is regulated in Nigeria. Nightclubs and entertainment venues are frequently mandated to soundproof their premises and keep noise levels within legal limits, or risk being sealed by authorities like LASEPA. However, we're not done with that tweet. Can we please leave that tweet back up? Okay.
Maybe the director doesn't like the tone of that conversation.
Director, what happened? Okay.
All right.
Anyways.
Okay.
So, you were saying, however, churches and mosques often operate Without similar restrictions, even though the amplified services, outdoor speakers, and all-night programs can disturb entire neighborhoods. This needs to change. Churches should be required to incorporate soundproofing measures in their buildings to protect residents' peace and health. In many areas, a single street now hosts 5 to 10 different
50.
churches, turning
Why don't
quiet
they do
residential
measures and
zones
collabo?
into zones of constant noise. Everyone, regardless of whether it's worship or entertainment, should respect noise regulations for a more livable city. I don't care. Have 5, have 10, have 50. Just regulate the noise. Even Jesus was respectful to his neighbors and made sure he did things that did not anger them. You can't be playing loudly after a certain time and say you are praising God. Is it fair? Liam Rossnoa asks. Josh says, in as much as I understand how the noise can be irritating or annoying, however, can you do the same thing if it were a mosque valid? You shouldn't take laws into your own hands. Bringing cutlass to a private property to threaten its owners is a criminal offense. The proper thing to do is to report to the nearest police station through the CDA. Wow. So we agree that there were faults on both lines, both the church and the man who came with the cutlass. But let's go to YouTube. Mokoye Chukwemeka says, not supporting demand, but we do too much in the name of religion. Where I stayed in Ketu Alakpere, by 5 a.m., the mosque opposite will wake you up. It wasn't funny till I left. And this was our experience growing up. I said I could sing,
an alarm.
And I can still sing some of the songs I heard growing up. Because every morning, during their call to prayer, we are all praying alongside, by force. But if you have such problems, the Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency is there for your rescue.
I'm not sure if Abia State has it. That incident happened in Abia State. If they have a similar...
Yeah.
This is...
I think for Lagos, LASEPA, I think Abia State has. Yes, I think they have. I can't remember what it is. I know they have. Yeah, there's a replication of basically all government parastatals, especially across states as well.
You sound like a Masepa.
No, it would have said Amotekun. But to be honest, we have to solve this problem. It's becoming too much.
I mean, let's just be considerate.
We have too many churches compared to factories. It's fine if you want to go into that calling. I don't care if it's your calling or not, but do it respectfully.
And I know that you're speaking from a place of personal pain, but I want you to know that your problem is our problem, and we will join hands together and solve it.
It's painful. I mean, it's...
All right.
The song came to my head, but
that's the song that I just quoted.
I can't sing it on the air this morning.
Headlines, let's bring to your top story. If we stay here, we'll not leave this set. Good morning, Lagos. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, Abuja, wherever you are. Top stories this morning are as follows. Police can clash over Kaduna abduction claims. There's a lot going on. We have to revisit that story as well. Communities reject police claims, insist over 163 people were abducted. Consolidating energy security in Nigeria. We'll take a look at that story as well. And Nasarawa urban renewal. Scavengers feast on Mararaba Bridge debris after demolition. And we have the front pages of the newspapers. They are looking smoking hot this morning. So stay with us. This is Breakfast Central. Thanks for staying with us here on Breakfast Central. Time for us to go into our first conversation. We're taking it to Kaduna, where there's been a back and forth if there was kidnapping that did take place of some worshippers at different churches on the same day. Now, if you've been following this story, News Central has consistently done justice by going to the community itself, particularly to find out if this kidnapping happened. Just yesterday, the police had said no such thing happened, especially in Kurmin Wali community, Kajuru local government area of Kaduna State. As we speak to you this morning, there seems to be a turnaround as the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetoku, has directed that the full deployment of critical operational intelligence assets to Kajuru and surrounding communities takes place immediately. And finally, the police have admitted that there was indeed mass abduction of worshippers in Kaduna. One man has been busy, he's working tirelessly. His name is Emmanuel Bagudu, News Central ace reporter, who has been there himself, covering the ground and bringing the truth to you. So let's take a look at what he was able to cover.
Forming People run out from the church, they come break the door. The people were men inside.
This is the door they broke?
Yeah.
This is the door they broke?
Yes.
Abba, show us the door.
I already showed.
Okay, let's go. So what happened here?
See the way they scatter everything.
These are musical instruments.
They scatter everything. Even the way we have people inside church, they scatter everything.
Sure. What's this?
They scatter everything in the church. You can even see this. This is new one. Keep it here, they bring it down, they scatter everything in the church. You can even see everything. They scatter even the chairs, they bust our...
Scatter chairs?
Yes.
This thing, they're the one that did this? Wait. Abba, let's see. Wait. Are we on... What's this? Man, these are the chairs supposed to be. What's this? May I answer chairs? Who's going on? They are the ones that did this? Harvest, okay, this is what you guys use for harvest. So Abba, let's see. So on a very good day, this is supposed to be a church, a place of worship. That's what we see here, right?
Yeah.
So they are the one that did this.
Yeah, they packed some things and come up with it.
I don't know.
Yeah. Even on my...
Which church is this?
This is C&S number 2.
C&S number 2 Krumwali means church, Cherubim and Seraphim 2, number 2 Krumwali. Let's go to a watch of guys.
Police commissioner, we had the local government chairman of that particular local government, Kajuru, denying that the attack didn't happen. It's all over social media. Of course, we got access to that community. Of course, not without some fracas, but we got access to the communities. We visited the 3 churches where the communities claim that the attackers came to attack them. They took us Cherubim and Seraphim 1, Cherubim and Seraphim 2, and of course, Equa Church, all including Wali. And of course, we did all the coverage. We spoke to a lot of victims. Women, they told us that pregnant women were abducted. They told us that a total of 163 persons are currently in the bush, in the forest, with the kidnappers. They narrated every experience which we had fully on camera. They said that Nigerian police lied, their local government chairman lied, and that they owe them some level of accountability why they have to lie to the world that this never happened. And it happened, they said it happened, and they showed us how it happened. They took us to the churches, they took us to the houses. Those that were injured, we have them all covered on camera. So the controversy there is the fact that the government doesn't want to come out. According to the community, the government doesn't want to give an impression of a Christian genocide. That is why they are making those kind of alleged false accusations on Nigerian media. But of course, a lot of Nigerian media, including international media, had got access to that community today. Some came in on chopper, some came in by air, some came in by land, some got access, and they got every details. And I believe these reportages may make the Kaduna State government, of course, the police, and the local government chairman retract their statement probably by tomorrow.
We do have joining us a security expert, Dr. Abdullahi Awal, joined us all the way from Kaduna. Good morning. Thank you for being here on Breakfast Central.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's been a back and forth situation. First off, the police said there was no such thing that took place in Kaduna. And here we are again, a turnaround, the police saying absolutely there was. But our reporter went right into that community, as you could also see in that video. My question to you basically is, why do you think we're having a repetition of an attack, especially on churches? Especially looking at the fact that the recent one that took place saw the United States of America react, and here we are again. Or is there someone or some people behind these attacks who are looking to cause more trouble and more harm, especially for this administration?
Thank you very much. That is a wonderful question, because that is my line of thinking, and that is also the line of thinking of every good thinking and patriotic Nigerian. I will tell you clearly, without ambiguity, that we are of the opinion that this is it's a theory, more like trying to create confusion, trying to create mayhem, trying to give the administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu a very bad name. This is a politically motivated attack. Under normal circumstances, the claims were that motorbikes were stolen, and then those people will not be released until those motorbikes are returned. I find it very, very absurd, very, very unreasonable, very, very unbelievable for 3 churches, people to be adopted from 3 different churches just for the purpose of a claim of motorcycles were stolen. That is one. 2, the situation with Nigeria, most especially with the present administration vis-a-vis the American government, to be precise, President Donald Trump, who under the present circumstances had always had this belief that there's a Christian genocide in Nigeria. So this is why we believe this is politically motivated. It is being done so that to give, to continue to give another bad name to the government, and also to create the impression further that yes, there are Christian genocide, yes, that the government is not doing everything possible to protect the Christian community. This is just the simple thing that is going on. But I can tell you that this is just like the Inspector General of Police have given an instruction. The Minister of Defense is doing everything that they can do. Same with other security agencies to unravel who are the people behind all these things and what are the motives. But like I said, the motives can be deducted so simply. Trying to create that bad impression, trying to create that situation where the government would have bad name, the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu would be seen as incapable or incapacitated, or the security agencies would be seen as incapacitated. Otherwise, you will clearly cannot see a reason where this is happening. It has not happened in the past. These kidnappings has always been kidnapping people on the roads, or even going to houses, private homes, to kidnap 1 or 2 people. And in most cases, it has no religious coloration. But this is clearly stage managed. As far as a lot of those that know security, those that understand the nitty-gritties of security, those that knows what is the country is going through vis-a-vis the American situation, it is a clear thing that is a stage managed thing. Nobody will simply believe that the abduction is a normal one, or it's just being specifically targeted against the Christians. But we believe that it is being stage managed just to give the government a bad name. That is a politically motivated abduction.
Okay.
This is the belief.
Now, Dr. Well, whether it's politically motivated or not, Nigerians deserve to live in peace, and it's the responsibility of a government to protect the lives of the citizens. No Nigerian citizen should be abducted in that manner. And therefore, my question is, as a security expert, we do know that the first 48 hours is very crucial in solving any crime and in terms of security. So the time the Nigerian police force and the Kaduna State government expended in denying this this abduction, denying that the abduction never took place, asking CAN for a victims list, if they had put that energy into recovering or trying to bring back the innocent people that were abducted, do you think would have made a lot of headway in terms of returning them back to the communities?
Well, you see, these situations, yes, you may be right. If that has been done, possibly something would have been reached out by now. But I can also tell you that in some situations, things like this, when they happen, even while there are denials, for as long as there are evidence or proof of that something like that has happened, I can tell you that most likely there's a behind the scene push on trying to get to those people, on trying to get to apprehend them, on trying to get to rescue these people. That is, if as at the time the denial was going on, the government didn't really get the required information, because this is about information. This is about getting to know if it has happened or not. And like I said, there is a suspicion and counter-suspicion. There is plans and counter-plans just to blackmail government. So this possibility of the denial may come out of the fact that at the very initial stage, before it was deeply investigated and questions were asked, and then maybe possibly a lot of reach out and then confirmation were made, possibly there was some element of that suspicion that it didn't really happen. It's just trying to call the attention of the international community and of course the Christian community in Nigeria, just to have that, like I said, bad name for the government. Possibly that was what happened. Underline when I say possibly, that there's a possibility of that happening. That was why the government and then the police authority in Kaduna initially denied such a thing. Because if you listen to the statement, it says the local government chairman, the community leader, that is the chief or the emir or something like that, and of course the state government and all, even the Khan itself chairman, was at the initial stage saying that by the commissioner of police that nothing as such has happened. But then they call for, if there is information, credible information of such things, that the police were ready to go into it and do the needful. This was the initial one. So if you read between the lines of the statement made by the commissioner of police, it might be suggesting to you that as at the time the statement were being made, there was no real confirmation, or there was a certain level of suspicion of a cooked thing. But be that as it may, the IG has come out to clarify issues and then to confirm the abduction and also give further instruction that they should make sure that the victims are rescued. So this is one good step, even if the generality of Nigerians or the community might begin to see that the first step was a wrong one. Then another good step has been taken after confirmation. This, you would understand, security matters are very complex issues. They are very complex things. You don't just draw conclusions just like that. If you recall, and every Nigerian will remember that once there is an issue, there's an incident, when you reach out to the police, they will tell you that they are investigating. They have not gotten to the nip of it, so they may not be making a statement. In most cases, you find that such things had happened. But under these circumstances, it's too open that 3 different churches were attacked and then abductions were made. So possibly that was what happened. But whatever it is, now that there's a confirmation of the abduction and there's an instruction of rescue by the IG of police, and I also want to tell you that that of the IG is the one that is out because it's police that made the statement earlier. But other security agencies are working hand in hand to ensure that these abductees are safely returned back home. Meanwhile, like I said earlier, the suspicion of the possibility of stage-managed abduction is equally there. It's on a 50-50 basis as I speak to you.
The fact, you said a number of things. You talked about the fact that this is stage-managed. You believe it's stage-managed. Might be stage-managed. And no, I don't think it might be. I think you believe, just to clarify, are you saying for certain that the 3 churches being attacked was stage-managed to paint a negative picture? Can we please clarify that?
No. I am not making an affirmative statement.
Okay.
I am saying the possibility.
All right.
So I said it's a 50-50 situation.
Okay.
It's a 50-50 situation. We know, you know, I know, every Nigerian know that the issue between Nigeria and the United States of America, or let me say between the issue between Nigeria and the President Trump of America, that had to do with the Christian genocide, as alleged that there was Christian genocide. He has taken the matter so serious, and the American government are taking it so serious, to the level of even calling for separation, that Nigeria should be separated. So it's a very complex and a very serious matter. So those that want to take advantage of that situation might arrange something to give further credence to what President Trump is saying, or the alleged the allegation, so that it will have some level of credence, and then that will give a further push to what the American president is saying. So there is the 50% possibility of such a thing happening, because such thing has not happened in the past, where you have 3 churches being broken, let me say so this, and then people are adopted at the same time, the same day, in the same community. It looks suspicious. It has never happened in the past. Yes, there were various abductions, but it is not concentrated on religious abduction. It is concentrated mostly on who they think has money. They will go and adopt and then get money. A mass abduction has taken place. If you take, for example, the train, the Kaduna train abduction and other abductions that have taken place were not really concentrated on Christians, and it's not a massive abduction. You find out it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, apart from that of the train like that. But this one is coming massively. It is coming in the same community. It is reaching out to different churches at the same moment. It is actually suspicious. This is why we said it might be a state-managed adoption, so that it will give a bad name to the government. So it's a 50-50 situation, but not an affirmative statement that it is so. No, I'm not making an affirmative statement.
Okay, so let me take
the possibility.
Let me take the 50%, right? You said it's a 50-50 situation. Let me take the 50% probability of this having been staged managed. And let's assume, assuming without conceding that it was staged managed, does that not also reflect a deeper societal problem about the government's inability to protect the citizens if they're able to carry out these attacks and citizens are at the mercy of these terrorists? That's one. 2, the Nigerian police came out initially to deny. The first position should have been to carry out a thorough investigation, as opposed to clearly denying, then now coming around to turn, to change their stance, which in some measure would further, push forward the mistrust that citizens already have for the police, especially because we're in a sensitive time where kidnappings have become a stock in trade, unfortunately. So shouldn't the first response have been to do a thorough investigation, as opposed to denying, outrightly denying, and then now coming? Does this second acceptance negate the terribly wrong mistake that was made at first?
I agree with you that there is a mistake there. There is a mistake in the statement. We're human beings, and then for one reason or the other, such things has happened. It is actually not a community will get the true picture, the true reality, if what is on the ground is entirely different from trying to only give a good image or trying to sell the government to the international community
are you
in good line.
Doctor, are you saying that you agree that $9 million was good enough, was okay to be spent on that, to lobby for that? Which would you choose? Would you rather go for sorry please, would you rather go for lobbying, or would you go for solving the problem?
I would go for solving the problem, but you can only solve the problem by also making those that are trying to attack the nation and also giving the nation a bad name, bad impression, and something that is not true, a false allegation. I would rather repeat, go for the government doing the needful, trying to protect the citizen rather than trying to create a good image. But also without the good image, we will continue to have an attack. Don't forget, recently we have 2 or 3 bombings from America. Whether Nigerian government is involved or not is a different thing entirely, but there are something has happened that has never happened in the history of this country.
Okay.
A foreign nation in an attempt to assist the country, sending in bombs to bomb, let's even assume it is the criminals. So why did that happen? Because there is a bad impression. There is a false allegation. So I'm not in support of...
No, but that was in partnership with the Nigerian government. Dr. Wao, please. Sorry, I just want to correct an impression you just made, but that was in tandem with the Nigerian government. The bombing. The Nigerian government came out to say they're working with the United States.
I agree. This is why I said that I did not create an impression. I said whether the Nigerian government work with the American government on that very issue or not. This is what I said. What matters is there was a bombing, and it has never happened in the past. Even if you are coming to assist the country, that happened because there was an impression that was created for the American government, and that impression was a false impression of issue of Christian genocide. Underline this statement, Christian genocide. You and I and every Nigerian know that there was no such thing as Christian genocide. But impression has
again,
been
that is still subject
the
to
American government has accepted it, and then they are coming to tell Nigerians that you have to work with us to be able to do something about that very matter. And then we are having an adoption in 3 different churches now to further give credit to that initial false impression and false allegation of Christian genocide. This is what I'm saying. So if the government is doing everything to make sure that it creates a very good image of the country before the international community, and also to express the reality on ground that there was no such thing as alleged, I don't think it is bad, even though I'm not of the opinion that such amount of money should have been used. But then I agree that there's need for the country to give a true impression of what is truly happening in the country to the international community, instead of allowing false impression to continue to roll and the country continue to have.
All right. Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you, Dr.
Abdullahi Lawal. And we'll end by saying that a good image comes when a government secures the lives of its citizens and pays it utmost importance. Thank you so much for your time. We do appreciate your insights.
Thank you for having me.
Well, let's move on now to our next conversation very quickly and tell you that there's a story coming from Abia State, Binga, a very fresh one.
Yes, Abia State Governor Alex Otti has fired a bold shot, declaring that no individual or group, not even former Governor Ojus or Kalu, can stop his re-election bid. Speaking at a church event in Isialangwa South, Otti said, and I quote, "I am not bothered about 2027. The same God who settled 2023 will also settle 2027.
Governor Otti vowed that his government will continue to do the right thing, not minding the attacks by the opposition. Otti and 3 former governors of the state, Orji Kalu, Theodore Orji, and Okezie Ikpeazu, have in recent times been in a war of words, with Kalu vowing to stop Otti's re-election in 2027. Joining us for this discussion is Executive Director of Lead Network Africa, Chukwuma Okinwa. Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Okinwa, for joining us this morning.
Good morning.
All right. Mr. Okinwa, would you say that the attempt to stop Governor Otti's re-election bid in 2027 is about his underperformance, or would you say it is more likely about the fact that he has stopped ex-governors from benefiting from, what their salaries typically would be like? Because that's the allegation we hear, that it's more political as opposed to his performance being in question.
When you talk about performance, key performance indices in this case, judging from the Abia of yesteryears compared to what it is today, empirically, it can be validated that what Abia has achieved under Otti's administration within 2 years and a half is almost 16 times, right? I mean, it does appear that over the years, there were, governance was non-existent in Abia State. You see, whether you talk about the influx of touts, threats, disturbances, anytime I get to drive to Abia, to bad roads, to some kind of things when you look at substandard jobs, that taxpayers' monies were invested into. And now you have a governor who has come to right the wrongs. So I think that the current day political battles has really nothing to do with, being well intended for the good people of Abia, but it has everything to do with the fact that, certainly an Otti would not continue with that trend of trying to service the pockets of those who have held Abia State sway for years. I mean, the game has changed, and we hope that it's sustained beyond 2027, even though, for those of us in the Saudis, understand that it's not a guarantee for Otti, I can tell you, but then we do hope the will of the people stands.
Now, Mr. Okinwa, I mean, just from what you said, that he's performed the key performance indices, and I'm sure Abians can also testify to this, isn't it counterintuitive that former governors will gang up and, you know, try to stop him, someone that is developing and working in the best interest of the majority of Abians, will stop his re-election? Where do you think this, for lack of a better word, beef or animosity came from? Could it be as a result of the pension laws for ex-governors?
Yeah, that's on one part. And on the other part, like typical of Nigerian space, whether it's political or civic space, someone who is performing, someone who is regarded as the good one, who doesn't want to play according to some rules set by some people, is always seen as an outsider. And when you look at the social identity theory, the in-group will always want to theorize that, you know, in every sense of it, they are far better to whoever doesn't belong. So clearly, Oti does not belong to that rank of governors who held the state's way, you know, helped to facilitate laws that see that even after leaving office, they could still enjoy the lagers associated with the office. And he's come to change that, and it's no surprise they are doing everything. It's visible, you know, that it does appear that the unspoken word is that this guy must be stopped at all costs, right? Otherwise, we are going to continue in this, you know, state of insignificance, where we are insignificant when it comes to consistent assessment, assessing those lump sums from the states and benefits.
Okay. I think my question would be, it's bordering on the fact that, I mean, this pretty much looks like, we all know it's a political move, because you have former governors who are coming back, even criticizing the roads and the construction that's being carried out by Governor Oti. But do you think, or do you also agree with the line of thought that all of this is happening because the governor has refused to join the current APC, or the party, the APC, and he has stuck to his guns that he's going to remain where he is, come what may, and he's still going to win? Because if you were with the APC, will things play out this way?
Well, two things. Let me say it has less to do with APC and more to do with those gang up of past governors who want to take back the state at all costs. And, you know, the record shows that even in some roads, Oti brought like some renowned companies, you know, to fix the road. One very renowned construction company was, was brought to bay to fix a road before now was characterized with lots of gully. I mean, I practically driven on one case to Abia, and, you know, my vehicle was swimming, right? You know, despite being a high-rise vehicle, but I mean, practically swimming, trying to like move through the tides. Record shows currently that Oti has fixed those roads, right? And it's, when you compare that, I mean, the Abians themselves can confirm that lives for them is better under an Oti. And then when you now talk about like joining of APC, I really think, you know, in all sense of it, I have a bit concern about Oti's continuance with Labour Party. Exactly. Considering that Labour and PDP now, yes, Labour and PDP now are like shaking ground. So I do not really know what is it is inspiring his courage, because continuing in a Labour Party, Oti must understand that the dynamics of 2027 will not be the same with 2023, right? First and foremost is that Obi is no more there, so the wave of obedient movement is not going to help. Second is that the Labour Party, with which, you know, he sought for position in 2023, is now shaking. We don't really know, right? You know, who the current leaders are working for. And then the third aspect, which is really like a very strong one, right, is I'm sure that Professor Oti will not be assigned as the returning officer for Abia State. How many of a kind of Professor Oti do we need, right? I mean, without a woman like that who could stand pressure, how would even Oti be a president or become a governor, right? So it's not just all about the will of the Abians. Regrettably, politics in Nigeria, it's not all about your popularity, but all about those that the system want to, to emerge, and that's quite unfortunate.
Okay, I mean, I want to push back again on what you said about OT's chances in the Labour Party, and I did share some concerns as well when you were speaking, because we've seen that the Julius Abure-led faction of the Labour Party seems to have, quote unquote, expelled OT. They do not consider him to be one of them. So the Labour Party is a party that is divided within its house, and a party divided within its house cannot stand. What, from your perspective, are the options for Governor Oti? Do you suggest he maybe still stays and chugs it out with the Labour Party, or do you suggest he moves to another political party if yes, which?
I mean, if I'm to recommend, I can recommend two options, right? Based on Nigeria political reality, because of course, when it comes to politics, sentiments doesn't work, emotions or mere projections. You're actually talking about proper calculations, right? And by extension, permutations. You have to do your permutation clearly, and then you have to do like what we call reality check. Not just good wishes of, I know I'm going to do this, I know it's going to work, I know, I'm going to be favored. Beyond all of those things, the first choice for OT would be to join APC.
APC over ADC?
I mean, that's like his stopper.
Would you say he has a better chance in APC over the ADC?
Certainly. I mean, like, for instance, this is going to be like anybody that joins APC. For most of these governors joining APC, we've seen in time past, these guys clearly differ both in ideology, in their position, and mannerisms with APC. But now, some of them seem to got no choice, and they have joined the same party. What they are after is, first of all, political survival, and to see if they could, by any chance, thrive by joining the winning team. Because guess what? It is the APC-led administration that is going to decide the rule of the game. If Mr. President wants a free, fair, and credible election by 2027, the buck is going to start and end on his table. So it's just going to be very simple for APC to say, you know what, we want to return all our men. It's as simple as that's the reality we find ourselves, right? If it's a system where we can count on our institution to deliver the most popular, then I can say that OT can go and relax. Then the second option would not be joining ADC, right? And of course, he would also be faced with the battle that's going to face the likes of P2B or the likes of Atiku. But one thing is going to be like a distinguishing factor, right? And that is who is going to be the returning officer for Abia State.
All right, let's pause there.
Very great role.
Let's pause at who will be the returning officer for Abia State. I will come back to we have a few more questions for you, but let's go on a very quick break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Breakfast Central. We're still looking at Governor Oti's bold declaration of his re-election in 2027 being unstoppable, and we're joined by Chukwuma Okenwa, who has been speaking to us about Governor Oti's performance as well as predictions for 2027.
Okay, Mr. Okenwa, I wanted to ask you, follow up on your fears for who the returning officer would be. And for people watching, they will be quite taken aback that onto a democracy, that what sort of dysfunctional democracy would you have when the elections by the people will have to depend on who the returning officer is? Why did you raise an alarm about the returning officer in an election? And mind you that INEC is on the new boss, under a new dispensation, under Professor Joash Amofita.
Yeah, so two things. Let me say over the time, yes, we've seen like some professors come up openly to disclose that they were compelled to announce certain results. And what is most regrettable about that is that when such cases were referenced in the court, it was quickly swept in as though it never mattered in deciding the outcome of the cases. And so why wouldn't it be like a recurrent index when like there is sufficient evidence to believe that, there are attempts to compromise returning officers. In some cases, there has also been reported some sorts of distrust, a kind of lack of accountability on the part of some of them. And it's also clear that in some regard, there is no appropriate procedure, right, put in place to ensure that we get the best professors, who are renowned for integrity to actually oversee these processes, why I think so is, the case of Professor Oti is just one instance of somebody crying and say, there are pressures. So the question is, where are the pressures coming from? Who are those mounting this pressure? And nobody mentioned the issue. All we just did is just to clap, that Oti was able to stand our ground. But people, I think it is criminal, for some people to try to use their office, right? Public offices to influence or to compromise the system, to act against itself. That's almost like an autoimmune disease, where like a system is fighting against itself. And that's what we clearly see. And so what I think would be that, the universities and all, in our case, since the Constitution recognized the need, to get professors on board as those who understand academic rigors, right? They understand that merit by our standard must always be the case, considering that maybe in some cases students could be sacked even from the school just for malpractice, affecting one student. Now you are now talking about affecting the credibility of the whole process by a professor that is, can sack someone for examination malpractice. You are talking about taking a wrong decision that can produce people, who can mortgage the entire, future of upcoming generation through bad leadership and bad governance. So I think, when you have a professor not taking a stand, it's not something that is instantaneous. It's not just something about maybe someone just come up with the quick desire for speedy gratification. It is something that this person must have indeed been corrupt before now, right? And just, picked on that ground. So the merit, when corruption becomes merit, then there's a problem. When corruption becomes merit, well, let's look for who will deliver. When our politicians say looking for who to deliver, it means who will do their bid.
Okay. It seems like it's going to be a long political tussle back and forth, even though the governor himself has come out to say that the past governors, in other words, are just wasting their time. And the people have also proven to be with the governor, looking at his antecedents, especially the current one, what he's done and what he's been able to achieve in the space of just 2.5 years. Finally, my question to you, okay, I thought you were saying something. My question to you would be, where do the people stand? Where do they come in as much as we are discussing politics and this rivalry between the former governors and the current governor? Because it seems like we always focus on the politics and rather leave out the people. The people, as we speak, and we know from conversations, from responses, actions, are with the governor. They're not with the former governors. So where do the people stand in the midst of the political year when it comes? And where do you think the people would place their votes on? Who do you think they'll place it on?
Okay, so in terms of who the people will stand, I think majority of Abians, any day, anytime, having witnessed the pandemic of the Orji's dynasty, I wouldn't want to stop at anything in supporting the re-election of Oti. But like I did mention, if all about re-election is just entirely dependent on who the people vote for, then we wouldn't have any concern. Yeah, we understand that even when people are part of the process, maybe take down notes, build their own situation room, the Electoral Act only recognizes INEC as the platform, the official platform, right? Commission to announce the result, and that whatever thing INEC announces, even if it's adverse to every other credible situation rooms, even if empirically you have other 3 situation rooms that all agree independently, but the one of INEC differs, it is what INEC has decided that is going to stand as the winning result.
We can hear you. All right. Just to conclude, we see, and from what you've said, that the citizens are with Governor Alex Oti. You also said that his best bet will be for him to move with the APC. How do you suggest that the citizens will interpret it? Should he take this advice and move to the All Progressives Congress? Do you think that will work for him? And is the citizens being on his side enough? Because we saw what happened in Rivers State and the support that the governor seemed to garner from the people, but it didn't seem like that was enough.
I mean, we've come to a point, due to the frequency at which politicians switch from one party to another, it's no longer the very fact that there are no ideologies backing those political parties. Switching is not a crime, and I can tell you, the Abians any day, anytime, would prefer good governance above, and care less about the political party. So to Abians, they know that once it's OT, you do it. Once it's OT, you can count on him for good governance, irrespective of the political party that he chooses to run. The most important thing is that in politics, you need a vehicle, right? The party is the vehicle to get you there. You must have to be in power, first of all, for you to do governance. If you don't do politics, you won't get the opportunity to do governance. And I'm sure that a great deal of Abians will understand that it is political survival first and foremost before you talk about thriving in governance.
All right.
Political survival, he says, but it's fine. I don't know if the people of Abia State will fully agree with that move to the APC, but we'll get to find out. Thank you so much, Mr. Kenwa, for speaking with us. Thank you. We'll go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll go to the oil and gas sector. There's something happening there that you must know about. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. Nigeria's push to secure its energy future is gathering pace, but remains constrained by execution gaps, rising demand and persistent security risks. Under the Petroleum Industry Act, the Midstream Downstream Gas Infrastructure Fund has committed over 287 billion naira to 62 gas projects, attracting an additional $500 million in private capital, raising questions about whether current investments can deliver sustained energy security and industrial growth. Pipeline protection remains a critical challenge. Between 2017 and 2021, Nigeria recorded over 7,000 cases of pipeline vandalism, with losses exceeding 4.3 trillion naira. Now, in early 2025, NNPCL uncovered 179 crude oil theft incidents and multiple illegal connections across the Niger Delta within a single week.
In response, surveillance has expanded through community-based models, with Pipeline Infrastructure Nigeria Limited engaging about 35,000 Niger Delta youths to safeguard a trans-Niger pipeline, framing ongoing discussions on energy security reform and asset protection. Join us this morning on Breakfast Central to share industry expert knowledge and prefer possible strategies is the convener of the Niger Delta Progressive Alliance and oil and gas expert commentator, Ambassador Nse Victor Udo. A warm welcome to you, Ambassador Udo. Thanks for joining us on Breakfast Central. Now let's get straight.
Good morning.
Let's get straight into it. Ambassador Udo, what does energy security mean in the Nigerian context today? When you talk about energy security, what does it mean?
Energy security within Nigerian context cannot be discussed in isolation. It must be understood from a global perspective, and then you now deduce it to what Nigerians are supposed to expect. Energy security is that deliberate approach through policies, actions, and implementation to put together a formula and a workable system that guarantees that citizens will have access to energy to run their day-to-day life. And in the case of Nigeria as an oil-producing nation, it goes beyond that, just citizens having access to having a model that will guarantee Nigerians' ability to explore, transport, and process oil and gas for domestic consumption, or extract, transport, and export oil for sales to get income to run other sectors. So globally, energy security is within the context of the citizens having access to secured energy source. But in Nigeria, it becomes a two-way thing. But there is a unique model that Nigeria has adopted in few years that has gone down the line. In responding to the analysis you gave earlier before you put your question forward concerning vandalism, concerning infractions and all these things, the Nigerian system decided to get a third-party engagement outside the conventional armed forces and police and civil defense, and brought in private companies who are supposed to assist in protecting critical national asset of oil and gas. And to the best of our knowledge as stakeholders in the Niger Delta and the industry interested persons, this model has worked. Like the example you gave on the Trans-Niger pipeline, the pipeline infrastructure has over the years developed a model that has engaged the people, engaged the communities, and reduced oil incidences to the barest minimum. But for 2026, it's going to be a really interesting year. Reason being that this is a pre-election year in Nigeria where there's going to be a lot of socio-political combustion. And we are not unfamiliar with the fact that sometimes socio-political combustion always snowball into negative incidences of violence that could sometimes be mismanaged or be misinformed, and then it could go to people expressing their dissatisfaction by tampering with critical national asset of oil and gas. On the second leg is the global reality that we now have. The incidents in Caracas, what you refer to Venezuela, where the rechanneling of their oil from sales to other countries that will now be restricted to purchase by America. It therefore means that those countries that had hitherto bought crude from Venezuela at a highly subsidized rate will now go into other places to seek for how they can get oil at a cheaper rate, cheaper than the conventional selling dictate of OPEC and other international players. It now means that there is going to be that tendency of people available on the high seas to lure people to thinking that having access to unauthorized sales of oil could become an attractive business. It is in this light that as interested party in the oil and gas sector of the Republic, we are calling on these pipelines that did very well last year and year before last, that in some instances like in Bayelsa and Rivers, we could go 2-3 months with zero infractions, to consolidate, become more active. Pipeline infrastructure, for instance, that controls the entire Trans-Niger corridor must consolidate whatsoever they did last year to the extent that they will be able, ready, and capable of responding to whatsoever will be put on the table with the challenges of 2026. Then, to the armed forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, especially the Navy, it is time to be on red alert to making sure that a partnership that you have had with private companies to making sure that we have moved to reaching our OPEC quota, and then critically this year our budget is pegged at 1.84 million barrels per day projection. For this to happen, the armed forces must consolidate. must be more watchful, because there are going to be straying individuals who will want to get oil at a cheaper price than what the international market is offering. We are calling on these people as Niger Deltans that the Nigerian armed forces to consolidate on what they had last year, be more vigilant, be more active in making sure that we don't have negative unauthorized persons come into our international waterways and seek to lure people to make available unauthorized crude to them. Then to the protection companies, we applaud your models you used last year. The large-scale employment of the people, the engagement of the women, the provision of scholarship, all those things you did last year, we appreciate you as Niger Deltans. But we are telling you that this is going to be a challenging year. We therefore call on you to consolidate, do more, and engage the people more this year, even more than. And then lastly, to the federal government of Nigeria, every nation protects what is a source of energy and economic stay. It will be good that the government of Nigeria will look critically to developing newer decisions in making sure that the armed forces that are deployed in the axis of the protection of oil and gas are better equipped to respond to whatever challenges will come, and the private companies should be given expanded responsibilities in terms of budgeting so that they will be able to respond to the challenges that the year is most likely to bring in the reality of being a pre-election year and the reality of the global economic push and pull. But I am very optimistic. I am very optimistic that if these private companies keep on the temple of what they did last year, combining with what the armed forces were able to do, we are going to have a very positive outcome that we will surpass our OPEC quota of 1.5 million barrels per day and meet the ambitious budget projection of 1.8 million 1.84 million barrels per day. Yes, last year in some instances with crude and condensate we were able to get up to 1.8 million barrels, but we're expecting that this year core raw crude should be able to get us up to 1.8 million barrels. Thank you.
Ambassador Ojo, thank you very much. I mean, you've covered a number of the questions we would have loved to ask, which is, very great. But you've been speaking about projections, about, targets and how much you think we will meet this year. I think that, or I should ask, because it's speculative at best. Would you say that, yes, you've talked about the armed forces, if the armed forces does what they need to do, if the private sector does what they need to do, but these are just ifs. As a matter of fact, what can you say is your guarantee for the projection for this year?
My take on this will be that the guarantee is that today, with the kind of relationship that is being enjoyed between the host communities, running from the PIA to the private company engagement involving the people, the guarantee is that the Niger Delta will not be volatile. It is also on record that the federal government of Nigeria is working very hard to reactivate oil exploration in Ogoni. It is also on record that the government of Nigeria is putting documents together to making sure that whatsoever exploration capacity we have, we should be able to explore it. And quickly I will put this. Nigeria's inability to meet OPEC quota or meet our target had never really been as a consequence of the non-availability of oil and gas within our domain. It had always been either logistics challenge, security challenge, or one policy somersault or the other. With the new leadership at the Upstream Regulatory Commission and the Midstream and Downstream Regulatory Authority, we believe that the policy direction will be stable, and we also believe that the Niger Delta will be peaceful enough, and we are confident that our people will not deliberately interfere with this exploration. With this strict reality, there is that guarantee that we will be able to meet these projections, because our inability to meet projections in the years back were not as a result of non-availability, but as a result of interference. Now that interference has been significantly addressed, we know that the oil sector in Nigeria is somehow still very fragile, but putting the management of the security aspect that guarantees the fragility, stability, it puts us on a predictable pedestal that we can predict that by this investment, this will be the outcome. The problem were that investment were not producing the expected outcome because of human interference. Now the private security companies have engaged the people to a degree where human interference has been reduced to the barest minimum, especially the private company operating in the Eastern Corridor, referred to as pipeline infrastructure. I think they are doing an excellent job. We are saying that they should consolidate so that the communities can be safe, the creeks will be safe, and then there will be free flow of oil and gas.
Okay, my final question to you, and I'm hoping we can take this question in less than possibly 30 seconds. How has the Petroleum Industry Act, that's the PIA, influenced investment in energy stability? I mean, you've given predictions, but is it fragile? Is it stable? And what does it look like for investors?
The Petroleum Industry Act is one of the best documents that we've ever had in the oil and gas sector of Nigeria. It is from the Petroleum Industry Act that the host communities are being reassured. It is from this document that the private sector engagement is being covered. It is still fragile at this point because the Petroleum Industry Act itself is less than 5 years. One of the things that we are hopeful about is that there are no multiple policy somersaults anymore, because there was no document that was the addendum of whatsoever should be done. The Petroleum Industry Act itself has become a functional document. Yes, there may be need for 1 or 2 clause or paragraph amendment, but as it is now, is a workable document. But the fragility of it is that it is being in motion in a very short possible time, and we are hoping that there will be no policy somersault because this document is effective as it is. Thank you.
All right, Ambassador Nse Victor Udo, thank you for joining us this morning on Breakfast Central. We look forward to speaking with you again. All right, we'll now bring you breakfast headlines, and we'll go on a very quick break. When we'll come back, it's time for breakfast headlines. Welcome to Breakfast Headlines. Let's now begin in Kaduna, where the Nigeria Police Force has now confirmed the mass abduction of over 100 Christian worshippers in Wali community, Kajuru local government area of Kaduna State, reversing its earlier denial of the incident. In a statement on Tuesday, Force Public Relations Officer CSP Benjamin Hundein said fresh intelligence and field reports confirmed the kidnappings. The police explained that earlier comments by the Kaduna State Commissioner of Police were not intended to deny the incident. Following the confirmation, The Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, ordered the deployment of tactical and intelligence units to the area to support rescue efforts. Meanwhile, a U.S. lawmaker has condemned the reported abduction of more than 100 Christian worshippers in Kaduna State, describing the incident as deeply disturbing. Republican Representative Riley Moore said the attack of 3 churches underscores what he called a growing threat of Christian communities in Nigeria. In a social media post, Moore urged Nigerian authorities to step up efforts to protect vulnerable worshippers and ensure the safe and swift release of those abducted. He also called for stronger action against the armed groups responsible for repeated attacks on religious communities, emphasizing the need for better security and accountability amid ongoing violence in the region. Meanwhile, rights groups have accused Nigerian soldiers of blocking access to communal following Sunday's mass abduction of worshippers from at least 3 churches. Away from that, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, says it has seized over 14.8 million kilograms of illicit drugs and secured 14,225 convictions within the last 5 years. The chairman of the agency, Brigadier General Buba Marwa, retired, disclosed this at the 11th Chairman's Commendation and Award Ceremony, which held at the NDLEA headquarters in Nigeria's federal capital, Abuja. He also added that the agency also recorded over 77,000 arrests within the period under the review, describing the figures as a reflection of intensified enforcement and prosecution efforts nationwide.
The criminal justice response to drug offenses, the agency successfully prosecuted and secured convictions against 14,225 offenders, reinforcing deterrence and affirming that drug crime attracts consequences. In line with our balanced approach, the agency also prioritized drug demand reduction. Through structured treatment, counseling and rehabilitation programs, 32,442 drug users received professional intervention. Additionally, 13,735 war against drug abuse sensitization activities were conducted across schools, motor parks, workplaces, markets, worship centers, and communities, expanding preventive awareness and citizen engagement.
The House of Representatives has commended the role of the media in shaping public understanding of legislative work, particularly as Nigeria navigates complex digital governance issues. Speaking at a joint retreat involving the House of Representatives Press Corps, media aides, civil society groups, and policy experts, Chairman, House Committee on Media and Public Affairs, Akin Rotimi, emphasized that accurate legislative reporting is critical to democracy, accountability, and public trust. He says that without a clear understanding of emerging issues such as data protection, cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, and digital rights, even well-intended legislation risks being misunderstood or poorly communicated to the public. Stakeholders also emphasized the growing responsibility of journalists to accurately and impartially interpret digital legislation as technology increasingly impacts governance, economic development, and civil liberties.
I always say this, that most times when you have wrong reporting of issues, most times when you have issues that are not properly projected in the media, it's most times from external media that don't really understand the processes. The House of Representatives Press Corps have carved a niche for themselves in legislative reporting, and I'm very proud of them. I dare tell you that when I resumed as House spokesperson, I even had to learn from them, because many of them have been here for upwards of 2 decades or even more.
Because more often than not, when we have digital opportunities, there's always a way it is related to another country. If we get investment, it is almost always Silicon Valley. The companies, the biggest Nigerian tech companies, unfortunately, are not exactly Nigerian companies. They're registered in the US. But how do we get that $3 trillion economy here? There's only one way. And the way is to go digital, and at the heart of the digital economy is trust.
As members of the House of Representatives Press Corps, Our duty is not just to report what happens in the House, but to make the work of the Parliament understandable to Nigerians, credible and relevant to citizens. This we have been doing patriotically and ethically, and it can only get better with capacity buildings such as this. This engagement is therefore timely and necessary.
Let's now move to East Africa, where Uganda's election fallout is deepening, with the opposition rejecting President Yoweri Museveni's re-election and alleging widespread fraud, violence and intimidation. Museveni was declared the winner with 72% of the vote, extending his rule to 4 decades. His main challenger, Bobi Wine, secured 25%, but says the results are fake and do not reflect polling day realities. Bobi Wine claims he's in hiding after security forces raided his home. His party accuses authorities of ballot stuffing, blocking party agents, shutting down the internet and killing protesters. The United Nations says the vote was marred by widespread repression, and the government denies wrongdoing, insisting security measures were necessary to maintain order. Tensions escalated further as Museveni's son, an army chief, reportedly threatened to track down Bobi Wine. Remember, you may send your eyewitness reports to the WhatsApp number on the screen, and do follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV across all platforms. You can also watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, StarTimes channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Olive MOD, and we'll continue now with Breakfast Central.
Thanks for staying with us on Breakfast Central. It's the last lap, and we are going straight to the front pages of the newspapers. We do have the one and only, you could call him the chartered, respected, honorable accountant of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Not accountant of Nigeria, but he's a respected accountant, by the way. He's also a seasoned public affairs analyst, a golfer, and not forgetting to one who is focused. You know, he blazes his focus, if you want to put it that way. Public affairs analyst Olusegun Okwade joins us this morning. Good morning.
Mr. Okwade, wow, that intro almost...
I was a bit worried, Joe, because it's given that he's left TV to now work in a laundromat.
Oh, hype.
Now, washing, a lot of washing this morning.
Okay.
It's not like you do not deserve the washing.
Wow.
You do deserve it.
Wow. Maybe I should take over Opebolo's hype man. Yeah.
Akpako governor. Governor, where
I would have been saying, Akpas.
Okay,
you know.
Enough. Gentlemen.
Good morning, Joe. Good morning, Dodi. Good morning. Being glad to be with you this morning. And like we said behind this, maybe one of these days we engage you to play golf. It's a game that...
I wanted to sign up to the club when I saw the figures.
No, there are figures.
Joe, please don't embarrass us on national
TV. The barriers to entry are very high.
No, they are not. They are meant for... They are meant...
golf kits, membership, club membership. I'd rather focus on chess. You know, it's cheap and it's a game of...
You think guys are a big boy now. Come on.
You guys falling my hand on national
Come on, national
What's
TV.
most of you? Are you still an avid player of Ludo and Snakes and Ladders? Because you told me it was your passion one time.
No, I'm into long jump, actually.
Okay.
Jump into conclusions.
Oh, I see. Let's go to the Nigerian Tribune quickly. You can call in as well and drop your contributions. One story and we go straight to the focus. Let's start off with Governor Yusuf's defection. Kano APC chiefs warn of forced marriage travails. Tinubu set to meet Kwankwaso after session with Yusuf. Barau Ganduje's role remain key issues. NNPP leader may get top government appointment. That's the Nigerian Tribune, please. We're taking the Nigerian Tribune. Let's start off with Nigerian Tribune. That's what we're starting off with. Governor's defection. We're looking at Governor Yusuf's defection. Let's talk about that.
Oh, thank you very much, Joe. This is, to me, no story. We are in 2026, and we can see a lot of strategy everybody is putting in place to retain his position and also to be relevant in the scheme of things when 2027 comes up. Don't forget that before now, I think we have about 28 governors or 29. Now with his own defection, we'll be having about 30. What just is surprising to me that these politicians, the same mouth they will use to condemn a political party is the same mouth they will use to run to people. So how do you want we, the citizens, to have confidence when you say one or two things? When they are in the other party, they will tell you cascade, these other politicians of their failures, their ills, and just overnight, when things are happening, you see everybody cross-carpeted. This that bothers me most is whichever party you are going to, because some of the things a lot of us have said has not worked out, and that's speaking to the fact that if you are moving from a political party to another, you have to vacate your seat, recontest for the seat, and test your popularity whether it will work. So if that permits, then we know that those are the areas where we need to, not situation where you will win the heart of the people through a political party, and at the middle of the match, you just like a footballer playing for Nigeria, and when it was 60 minutes to the end of the show, he decided to remove his clothes and start playing for the opponent. That's the way to go.
That's a fantastic analogy.
I mean, that analogy is so apt, Mr.
Are you not going to confuse the referee? And who are the referees here? It's with the citizens. Because just yesterday...
I'm going to steal that. I love it.
Just yesterday, we saw you wearing the jersey of a particular party. And why the thing was just going on, you saw this other opponent, they are winning.
2-0.
Oh, boy, you remove this jersey and wear the other, give me the other jersey. So it will now be 12 against 10 playing on the field of match. You will confuse the referee, you will confuse the players, everybody that answers. So if there are people that are familiar with your face and not your jersey, so you see the opponent playing poor to you, thinking that you are still playing in their favor while you are against them. So this are just interesting thing on the part of the politicians. But we will continue to say that let's give whichever party you want to go to. Our own is giving good governance to the people that you've given the commitment to serve. And with that, any party you like, you can go to. We just want dividend of democracy where we can be proud of enjoying some of the things that God has given to us in this country as natural resources, not just in the hands of very few.
Okay. Let's take a few more headlines.
Yeah, we have plenty of Nigerians.
Desiani's trial in the... I don't want to laugh because I saw that there was a documentary. I don't know if you have seen the documentary. It's dropping today. Today did a documentary on her. Yes, it's dropping today at 5 p.m. I definitely want to catch that. But her case definitely was quite an interesting one. And it seems like this is not one of those cases that have been swept under the carpet.
It's not, because it's not here. If it's here, I'm sure you know by now. If she's not if she's not contesting for senatorial seats, she will either be saying she wants to become the presidential aspirant of a particular party or women leader of a particular party. But because it's not here, it's happening outside the shore of this country. These are part of the problems we have, that politicians, all we hear is anytime you want to talk, and we appreciate that, allegedly, but money are missing until the court prove otherwise. And you get to the court, the person come, defend it, you start begging the person that you have alleged that you have stolen the money. And you ask yourself, is this not confusing as it? But thank God that this is happening in London. That's why an average person will tell you that when issues happen, they tell you go to court, because they know what definitely will. So this cannot be swept under the carpet, except the Nigerian government decide to prevail on the judiciary arm of UK to say, can we forget this case and allow to go? But
they couldn't do that with what's the name of this senator?
The deputy senator.
Yeah,
but you know, it's actually embarrassing that the government sent people there, high-profile delegates, to go and do what?
To go and beg.
To see if they can move him to Nigeria.
So that the next time he's coming in, he's contesting as the presidential aspirant for us. Is this the way we run a country? As far as I'm concerned, it's disappointing because I asked myself the question, on what premise are we doing this? Somebody is found culpable of doing certain things, let him face the rod of it. And that's why a lot of people will tell you that whatever it is, Joe, you just said something about me, we'll meet in court. And we all know what it is when you get to the court.
All right.
It will be, but this cannot be swept under the carpet.
Well, we now declare the phone
UK
lines officially open. If you'd like to call in, please call the number on your TV screen. And also, we're taking comments from YouTube, from the chat box. So please do well to drop your comments regarding any of these stories on the front pages. Still on the front pages, the World Economic Forum WEF 2026, Edu advances Nigeria's interest in Davos, says federal government will rely less on debt, focus on driving investment. Constitutional review, we will begin clause by clause consideration by January 27th. State police, special seats for women top list. We're still on the state police matter. We'll come back to that. Report reveals low awareness of Nigeria's 2025 tax law among business owners in states, and I agree. PDP presidential ticket open to all Southerners, including Jonathan, says Turkey. NWC visits Namadi Sambo. Court orders INEC to publish David Mark's ADC list for FCT area council election.
Okay.
I
would like us to focus on constitutional
review.
The constitutional review will begin close by close consideration by January 27. State police and special seats for women, top list. And oftentimes when we see constitutional review issues, we always come up with, we see requests for creation of more states. When some of the states we have are not even economically viable, you see things like Igodo State and, you know, all sorts of Lagoon State out of Lagos and things like that. But let's focus on the issues at hand. State policing. Are you for it? And are you also for affirmative action, creating special seats for women, or we're all equal before the law and before God? So the women should fight their way out of this.
Okay.
I'd also like to, although she's not an analyst, but it would be nice to get opinion, Oliver.
Can the director please come back on us?
Opinion on this,
Can the director please come back?
after the experts.
Let the expert
begin.
To add to your
question. It will not all go me well with me if you continue like this, on this trajectory.
On the set where we're 3 men to 1 woman. Please go ahead.
No, it's okay. Don't use numbers, please. I mean,
don't use power
language. But if you pick that on the percentage, at least you have close to 30.
Well, we have
not bad. That's a good representation.
That's a good representation.
So what I'm saying is, shouldn't we have a replication of that in public office?
Yeah, of course. I'm an advocate of giving women. As a matter of fact, if some of my guys at the golf club is watching, they will tell you that I'm master of ceremony for the ladies session, because they know that I give my best to them when it comes to their activities. Be careful how you say that.
I give my best to
them. It doesn't matter. The woman knows that when it comes to golfing, the ladies session, I treat them well and I give them the best. So when it comes to this, it's something I will always tell you, maybe because of my profession. In our institute, we have a lot of women who have led and have given the direction to show that women can lead. And when they get to an area, I'm sure you know a lot of people will tell you they are difficult to work with, but they are the easiest to work with if you understand what they want. They are principled, they are guided by what they believed in. And, you know, they want to exact whatever they feel is the way they need to go about. So this that we have of saying 35% inclusion, my focus is not attaining that 35. But what is the position of women to women? That is the fundamental problem I'm always having.
And I'm going to respond to that.
You know, if you are able to address that particular issue,
I will address
you always get the support of men. Because even within the women folks, when you get in there, you start asking yourself, okay, when the house that is divided against itself, how do you ask
to We have a call from Nnamdi. Nnamdi, good morning. Thank you for calling. Let's take this call. I'll come back to address that. Nnamdi, are you there with us? Oh, okay, unfortunately, we lost that call. Please call back. In response to why you were saying that women do not support women a lot as much as you would get, sometimes, I think, so part of that, first of all, that narrative, that experience is also because a number of women just automatically know that there's been systemic repression of women in many areas, especially in the political space. So it almost feels like putting water in a basket because you almost know that
So it's
she's
a
someone
sense
in
of
power.
hopelessness.
So it's a sense, yes, a sense of
No.
a sense of hopelessness in a sense.
Oliver, I won't pick up. You see, the percentage of women in things that we do can change the narrative of things.
I agree.
But there's always this foundation that I ask myself, is it that they are competing on what is not to be you know the way we guys will
But
relate.
those are limited examples. I mean, you have
No, see,
fantastic
I've
examples
seen
of Dora Akuili, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, I mean, trailblazers that are
we still have, I can make mention of several, even in my institution. Both ICANN, CITN, women of great substance that have done a lot. And they have made the likes of Kuforiji Olubi of blessed memory. We celebrated them. When you talk about the swan arm of ICANN, they are doing exploit. But there are basic things that when you're supposed to put yourself together and say, can we put our resources together to ask that Olive and possibly Tolu, let's come together as women folks, support them. It is then somebody will say, no, Olive cannot move because yesterday he stepped on my leg, even when she merited it. These are areas where they need to address. Sincerely speaking,
all right.
If the women folks put their forces together, men cannot withstand them. I keep saying, yes.
There's already a system that kicks against that. But let's take a call from Lenny. We'll come back to let's not make this an argument.
No, I'm just asking, are you sure they can do it?
Let's have Lenny calling from Abuja. Hold on now. Lenny, good morning. Thank you for calling.
Lenin calling from Abuja.
Good morning, Brenda. Good morning.
What's going on with our line today?
I want
to Lenny Graphic.
Lenin, are you there with us?
Yes, I can hear you. I can.
Village people are with this line. Okay. We don't seem to be able to hear Lenin.
Can you go ahead and speak, please?
I want to talk about this thing that happened in Kaduna. Can you hear me?
Claire, please go ahead.
Yes, okay. This thing that happened in Kaduna, so I'm so ashamed. Like when I got the information this morning that the thing has been clarified. Like, do you know what it means for a chairman of the local government for people to be kidnapped in your local government, and you came out to deny it, and the police, public relationship, and something like that came out to threaten whoever brought out the fake news. Remember, he said something like that. So my worry is there are some persons that have been killed, kidnapped that people don't even know, because these men in authority will like safeguard this information so that people will not know. There are different Nigerians are dying every day without the news coming to, like, people getting to hear the news. 160 something people kidnapped in a state, and a local government chairman come out to defend it, that it's a fake news. When they say they should give power to the local government, just look at this one now. Just look at it. Is sad. It is very, very sad. The police that's supposed to protect us came out to threaten the people that brought out the information. It is so sad. This country, yeah, it's so sad. So sad. Thank you.
Lenny, I'm surprised it's not in any of them.
Yes, that's the same thing I was checking for.
very
None of the
surprising.
papers have it. First of all, the police came out and said that it's a lie, that there weren't any kidnappings that happened. Now they've done a U-turn.
Well, the paper, sorry to pause, the papers may not have it because the police did the U-turn just the early hours of this morning after they had gone to the area in Kaduna yesterday towards the afternoon/evening. So maybe they had to go back, file a report, and of course the IG had to be on the IG's table before he did put out that post and gave them a directive.
You know, I think I discussed it, was it yesterday, when it actually came out of the position of the local government. Majority of these are politicians, don't sit where they are actually leading. So they don't have information. It's not that information. Somebody telling there is SA to the chairman, there is SA to the SA, there is SA to the SA to the SA before it now gets. So that one gets the information, whether it's on social media or anywhere, it gives and says, oh God, don't mind them. Nothing is happening, we're on ground. The guy himself is not on ground because majority of some of these local government chairmen do not even reside where they are leading. That's why they cannot feel the pain of when you complain about bad roads, that the local government should take. The local government that is meant to be possibly in one state in Southwest is in Lagos.
Or is in Abuja.
Or is in Abuja.
We need to go on a very quick break. When we come back from the break, we have a few more stories to take on the front page. Keep the conversations or the chats going on via YouTube, and we'll take some more calls when we return. You're welcome back to Breakfast Central. We're still reviewing the front pages of the paper, joined by Olusegun Okwade, a public affairs analyst, and we have been taking some stories from the front pages. Just to mention that the phone lines are open. We're open to taking calls as well as taking some comments from YouTube. I should probably go to YouTube and take some comments.
While you do
Powers Amako says,
okay.
Good morning, amazing team. Oh, thank you. Johansson is just without the... Oh, Johansson. Just add an E. He's asking for the correct spelling of your name.
No, O. Okay, Joehans.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. He says, now that it has been confirmed that the kidnapping in Kaduna has been confirmed, will the state government retract their earlier denial? Yes, they have. Why deny in the first place? Situations in Nigeria is becoming the more you look, the less you understand, the more you get confused. Let me go and sip my coffee in peace. So. Then Prince Ajibade says, local government chairpersons live in the city centers while the governors live in Abuja. Hope Uzodinma literally lives in Abuja. Let's now take a call from Cilio, I believe, from Lagos. Thank you. Hello, Cilio. Good morning and thanks for calling.
Yes, I want to discuss on this state police. Cilio, I believe, from Lagos. Yeah. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. Good morning and thanks for calling. Yeah, good morning. I want... Now, we're saying that state police, that's not, the name there is Tilio, not Cilio, it's Tilio, T-E-E.
All right.
Thank you, Tilio.
But
unfortunately, we may not be able to take this call because the TV is on. Please, would like to mention before you call, turn down the volume of your TV set or whatever device you're watching from, so that it doesn't interrupt our conversation.
I'd like us to run straight to this Nigeria.
All right, let's
I want to get your response. It's the major story, and I know you play with numbers a lot. Tax give vulnerable persons time to adjust before enforcement. Catholic bishops demand urge transparency, accountability. Rising hunger threat to global economic stability. United Nations warns. Different. United Nations. You know, anyway, what's your take?
Yeah, the issue of tax is something that everybody is discussing. My position still stands that the little I've read about it and the implementation we are considering seems to put the vulnerable at rest and at peace from what have actually been created by the new tax act. What do I speak to? Most of the people at the lower cadre, as we speak, will be exempted from paying taxes, and those that are outside the bracket of the exemption are also given, lower tax effective from January when we start getting that, speaking to the payee. And in terms of the SMEs, I think this is the first time we are giving good consideration for the businesses to grow. Part of the reliefs that we can see from it, which I will speak to maybe the vulnerables too, is to see an exemption of over 100 million turnover not being taxed at this point in time. So paying company income tax and all other taxes are exempted if you are not doing 100 million and above, provided that it fits access to is below 250 million. So what this connotes is that the small, medium enterprise will be able to plow back what they are supposed to pay as tax liability to the government, plow back into the business to grow some of this thing. I think there are just misconceptions out there because, averagely, when it comes to the issue of payment of tax, everybody feels run away from it, even in the developed climate, except you have a system that monitor and track activity. That's on the other side. The other aspect of it is where a lot of us, as journalists, as clergymen, as citizens, we need to continue to raise our voice, is asking for accountability on the part of the people. There is serious trust gap, And that's why a lot of people are putting so much resistance in making sure that this new tax law, nobody is seeing the positive aspect of the new tax law. Area everybody is looking at is you want to increase the tax base, you want to increase the number of people you want to bring into the tax net, but you are not doing what is expected of you. And that's what is expected of every one of us, the professionals. If you find your way, leading the people, those politicians, be held accountable for some of the funds that they are getting even from us. How can you be paying taxes and you are the one fixing your road? You are the one providing electricity yourself. You cannot even afford the electricity that is being provided by the government, that is being amounted to be one of the things that are being subsidized even for the citizens. Those are areas every one of us needs to speak to and hold our leaders accountable. But on the part of the new tax law, I think is what I would call a change that can bring the dynamics of things for growth, so that those that are doing less than 100 million can grow the business and be able to provide employment for more people even to do, and also empower individuals who are not going to be taxed now to have more purchasing power in procuring some of the things they do. This we have seen some of the organizations that are struggling, the SMEs that are struggling. When you take tax out of some of the things you have, although the government still have a responsibility, which we have asked the informal sector, those things that they gave commitment to take off the non-state actors who put pressures on the Okada man, the woman selling rice.
Those area boys.
How much are you working on this with the subnationals to make sure that you synergized all this together and everybody have understanding of their commitment when it comes to tax liability?
Let's go back to Tilo. He's on the line again. Hopefully you've turned on the volume of your TV set. Good morning. Go ahead with your conversation or your contribution quickly.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I want to say it's about state police. Now, if we have this kind of democracy that we have got federalism in our democracy, do you think state police can work? Take the state like River State. If state police was under Wike when he was the governor, and he's the one choosing every member of the House of Assembly, he's the one choosing every local government chairman and all that will work in that state. Do you think state police can work very well when there will be no dissenting voices? When nobody can argue about what is happening? And I know that in other countries where state police is being run, of course, state police is very well when you think about it, especially the kind of insecurity that we're having. That was the reason why people call for state police. But I do not think that, because I heard some people mentioning some states, Lagos State can do, Kano State can do, River State can do, and some other states like that. But with the kind of democracy that we have, I don't think that Nigeria is right for state police. Not to talk about women coming into the police and looking for affirmative something. State police for today cannot work in Nigeria unless we have a balanced democracy. The kind that we have now cannot work because people are not choosing people based on their merit. People are selecting people to come into leadership positions. That's not going well. We also have that in Umahi State, or Borno State is routing for his son to be the next chairman of a local government, and then you're looking for state police. If he has the mind and money, he can also tell the police what to do. So I don't think state police can work now. Until we have a balanced democracy, that's the only time I think that state police can work in this country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tilo. And I believe he shares the sentiments of a lot of Nigerians. And me too, I'm very apprehensive about state policing, and I don't think we're matured for it. And there's the danger of saying, let's go ahead with it and would work out the system.
Which is what people are saying. Let's just go.
But for Benga, I want to say no to your own reaction about the state policing. I feel that we need to bring security closer to the people, where we have responses. We cannot be taking that sentiment of what somebody is doing in Rivers, in Kano, and use that as a yardstick.
Present structure, and just making the Nigerian police headquarters deploy people to where they are familiar with their states of origin and places where they understand the nooks and crannies, instead of creating a whole new system.
But the reporting channel, channel is still a bottleneck, where before you act at states, you need to reach to the big boss of the center, which is IG. This is
but when
happening and give reaction.
when they're stopping young boys on the streets and searching their pockets, they don't reach to the IG before.
They tell you that those are part of the common things that they do. But when issues within the states are happening, that is beyond, a CP needs to report to higher authority for further action before it. That's why they will tell you that the governor may not have 100% control.
I agree with you. I don't think that we can just jump into the conclusion that if we do this, these are the implications. Insanity, they say, is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. We need to, the argument for the decentralization of power has been a long discussion. Rather than just talking about it, how about we foresee what the potential challenges might be and then create systems and frameworks that would ensure we don't get into those challenges?
Yeah, I share that, because now we have more that is being devoted into the hands of the state governors. We have security votes coming unaccounted for, and we are talking about state policing, so we can hold them accountable. So much that has actually been, given to you. We are not getting the security, because any area that is secured, I can tell you, prosperity is bound to definitely happen there. So it will be a wake-up call to every governor to see how he actually intensify in securing your state. So possibly you end up to be a governor where you don't have people in your state where you have to govern, where they are all migrated the same way because of the failure of few things we are experiencing in the country. Everybody decide to jump back. So even within the country, people will jump back from your state because they consider that it's not secure and go to a better state where they feel that they are safe, because the governor is intentional about protecting the people there.
We saw what the governor of Borno State, the effort he made in fighting insecurity.
Very hands-on.
Very hands-on. He was on the field. He went there, spent some days, about 3 days, slept there where the attacks had happened against public advice or against advice from
maybe security aids and the like.
Security aids, exactly. So
until when they start feeling the pain that the common man are feeling, they will not understand what is actually going on out there.
Okay, Mr. Kwade, thank you for joining us. And to wrap up the conversation, I want to go back to what we said earlier and to say that sometimes when we say that women do not support women, even in politics, some of these statements are at best theoretical. We don't have enough data to support that. The same way that you would argue that some men don't support women as well. They're just theoretical, that's one. Two, statements like these are statements that are made to further propagate an idea, the institutional and systemic oppression of women in the political space. So if we are going to see more women participating in politics, not only do we have to encourage them, we need to see more men stand as allies of these women in politics, because the system is currently rigged against women.
Maybe
very well said.
Yeah, maybe Olive, I will just react that it's not theoretical on my side. I have that opportunity of engaging with women, and most of the time when elections are even to be carried out in their session, we see a lot of argument, even when they are to come up with a position.
But it happens with men too.
There are ways that men will just stand.
Thank you so much. It is women that destroyed the Labour Party.
I wish we had time, but because today is Women Crush Wednesday,
my fellow feminists,
because you've spoken so well, my Women Crush Wednesday this morning is for my wife.
Wow. Okay, my own Woman Crush Wednesday is Sheyi Oladokun, my friend who turns a year older today. Happy birthday, Sheyi. Wishing you all the best that life has to offer. God bless you. Thank you to our guests, our viewers, those joining us.
The seed is coming.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Olive.
Bye. Next week. Don't say anything. Don't say anything.
Bye-bye.